Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now getting closer to the end of February, which also puts us closer to the very first episode of The Mandalorian Season 3 on March 1st. That's really going to kickstart Jon and Dave's plan for the future of the Star Wars universe, and exactly how they plan to create successful, consistent Star Wars shows in a row from this point on forward. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, yes, given that we have a lot of creators on board of all these upcoming shows like Mando, Ahsoka, Star Wars Mandalore, which by the way will be announced later this year. It's basically going to be the evolution of the Mandalorian. There's a lot of things at play, and given that we also have Kathleen Kennedy hung up with Skeleton Crew and the ACOLYTE, we'll get into that in just a second, and exactly what's been going on with those two projects. The thing that Disney board members have been very caught up with is a lot of the drama that has to do with Kathleen Kennedy, a lot of the problematic situations that she creates for multiple projects such as both Skeleton Crew and the ACOLYTE, and how that kind of creates a domino effect on other crew members that are also, taking part in other Star Wars shows. So let's get right into this, because we know that Kathleen Kennedy has been up to no good for the past couple of weeks, doing a lot of things without Disney's authorization, and doing a lot of things behind Bob Iger's back to really kind of get things going her way, and basically to push this specific agenda with her upcoming shows. Now, with that being said and all, what's even all the more exciting has a lot to do with the fact that, yes, we do have Jon and Dave doing the majority of everything related to Star Wars. That's the good news. But what Kathleen Kennedy recently did goes against Disney. Now, with many new Star Wars TV shows in the works by Jon and Dave Filoni, creators George Lucas have been actually helping out greatly with the upcoming material. However, it's described that recently Kathleen Kennedy got in trouble again from the Disney executives after doing something without their authorization behind the scenes of a project. Now, Kathleen recently cut more scenes out of the Skeleton Crew series and already scheduled some reshoots to take place in March that will have a high budget in comparison to the older footage. Now, this is said to have caused, of course, an uproar from the Disney executives, and they have given Kathleen Kennedy an ultimatum after her actions about dialing back on the marketing of Skeleton Crew even more so. Further, in addition, they also warned Kathleen Kennedy that if she does something like this again with Skeleton Crew, they are going to initiate a conversation with other Disney board members about canceling the series altogether and actually getting rid of the show from releasing in 2023 as a delay at the very minimum if she keeps initiating shows from releasing, of course, in such a way. Now, let me just stop right here for a second. Now, the thing that she did here basically was she initiated more reshoots after canceling more very expensive scenes for Skeleton Crew, which is completely irresponsible without Disney's authorization. It just goes to show you why Skeleton Crew has been having so many setbacks, so many different delays. We talked about this just yesterday about how even Jude Law's scenes were getting hung up a couple of months ago because of Kathleen Kennedy rearranging scenes and, getting rid of, specific key moments in the show. But I digress. The fact that they are now giving her yet another ultimatum about dialing back on the marketing of Skeleton Crew, which by the way could have very big ramifications on how successful it will become, and also the fact that they are warning her that if she pulls anything like this again, they are either going to have a conversation with other Disney board members about canceling the series, or at the very least, delaying the show altogether and not releasing it this year, but pushing it until next. And that wouldn't be good news either, because that would kind of shift the scheduling around for Mando Season 4. So it's kind of like, bad news also if they were to delay it and keep the show on board. Now that brings us to what Kathleen Kennedy is doing in response to this. Now, reportedly she is going by, Disney's warnings. She is listening to them as of right now, dialing back on the reshoots and the cutting of scenes and all these different things. And basically, that's her game plan right now, is to listen to Disney from this point on out, to really kind of just, play ball, do what she has to do to get the show out and running by later this year. The plan, by the way, guys, is to get this show out on Disney Plus by this November to early December. So you're not going to see it for quite a ways anyways. But moving on. Now further, alright, creators John and Dave were contacted by Disney executives if they wanted to fix some of Kennedy's scenes again for Skeleton Crew, and even John and Dave respectfully refused to take part in that project again for Kennedy. This has been an ongoing series of studio drama situations caused by Kennedy that only continues to get worse for Skeleton Crew and its creators behind the scenes, including John Watts. And that's another big problem right now, is that, for those of you that don't know, John Watts is a great friend of Jon Favreau, but John Watts is taking orders from Kathleen Kennedy for Skeleton Crew. And it really kind of puts them in a very strange business relationship, at least for now, because you have John Watts working, of course, for Kathleen Kennedy, and then you have Favreau working with Filoni on his own with George Lucas, where Bob Iger's letting them do what they want. Now, the thing about this, too, is that you have a lot of people coming together. You have a lot of the cast and the crew coming together for the Mandalorian series, and then you also have separate crews for the Ahsoka shows and so on and so forth. Kennedy's crew for Skeleton Crew and the ACOLYTE share, or at least have a good percentage of the same amount of crew members, and we've seen that there's a lot of problems arising out of that, because once the drama, pretty much goes up with Skeleton Crew, it kind of spills its way into the ACOLYTE series, and it's just not a good domino effect. Now, obviously, Bob Iger is not happy about all of this. This is literally like the 4th time that Kathleen Kennedy cut scenes from Skeleton Crew and is initiating reshoots again for next month. Again, they got a lot of leeway, they got a lot of room to really get this thing done still, to get this thing out by this year, but it's costing Disney more money. They're going to have to build more sets, they're going to have to film more, they're going to have to hire more actors and extras and stuff like that to get this, overall scene done, up and running before the end of July. Because they want to get this thing all wrapped up by July, begin promoting it in September, and then pushing it out in November. That's the overall plan right now. So, I think that what you're seeing here is Kathleen Kennedy getting very cautious with Skeleton Crew. I think that she's really second-guessing herself about what's good in the show and what's not good in the show. As you all remember, a couple of days ago, we talked about how there was supposed to be a Luke Skywalker scene in Skeleton Crew that got completely erased and vanquished by Kathleen Kennedy. And that was replaced with a unknown Force user saving the children from pirates, where originally it was supposed to be Luke saving the children from the Knights of Ren in this post-Return of the Jedi series. So anyways, guys, like I say, I'm very much intrigued to hear what you guys have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.